Here we are. Okay, cool. It is 4:30, so I'd like to bring to order the Zoning and Annexation Committee. I'm Dr. Davis, the chair of the committee, and like for our city clerk, Clerk Torado, to please take the roll.
Councilmember White. Councilmember Warner. Citizen Member Henry Davis Jr. Citizen Member Stacy Odom.
Present.
Committee Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Present.
Committee Chair Dr. Davis.
Present.
We have 4 members present.
Thank you. We would like to start off with bill number 3025. This is a special exception at 1114 Mayflower Road.
Yes, good afternoon, committee members. Mark Delastrito, zoning specialist with offices on the 14th floor of this building. Just because the petitioner for this was not here during the last committee meeting, they said they would be on the online meeting today, and just wanted to see if a representative from the project is on. Right, it appears maybe not. We were hoping to potentially, if this item could maybe be moved to the end of the agenda for this committee meeting.
Okay, please note that it's going to be a quick agenda, so just letting you know that. But that's fine with me. Do we need to take a vote? Okay, we'll come back to it.
Thank you. Yeah, we gave them notice, and they said they'll be on, but
I understand.
we'll,
I'm at peace.
thank you.
You're welcome. We would like to note that bill number 3925 and bill number 4025 have been requested by the petitioner to be tabled until August the 28th, 2025. So could I have a vote to table these until August of 2025, both bills? So moved. All in favor? Or do we have to take a roll call vote?
No, you don't have any.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. That's been officially tabled to August 28th. Now we move to bill number 4225, amending the zoning ordinance for property located at 740 North Brookfield Street. Have a staff report.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. Good afternoon again, committee members. Mark Delastrito, zoning specialist with offices on the 14th floor. Before you is bill number 4225, a petition by the owner of 740 Brookfield Street to rezone from industrial I. Excuse me. To rezone from I to urban neighborhood 3 or U3. The petitioner, a church on a neighboring parcel, this one right here, wishes to rezone the property so that someone can live in the existing detached house on the property. Here are some pictures of it as it currently stands. Here's just an overall site plan. Brookfield to the left there and the house on the lot. And the property falls within the Kennedy Park neighborhood, and in the 2022 neighborhood plan, the future zoning map does show the parcel as industrial. However, there has been a detached house on the property since about 1913, and other residential parcels immediately to the north are zoned as U3, as you can see here on this map. Additionally, rezoning this parcel to U3 and allowing for residential occupancy would achieve 2 objectives from the city's comprehensive plan. Objective H2, which is to maintain South Bend's housing stock in good condition, and policy H2.3, which specifically identifies the need to support the efforts of community organizations to rehabilitate and repair older homes. This applying in this case, obviously, because the petitioner being a church. It would also align with strategy 3 from the Kennedy Park neighborhood plan, which outlines a desire to develop and preserve housing in the neighborhood, as well as action item 3.1, which specifically says to support the production of a range of housing types, including new construction and rehabilitation of market and affordable units for owner and rental housing. The Plan Commission sends this petition to Common Council with a favorable recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a presenter? Come on forth and please add to your presentation. Please state your name and address and tell us what the church would like to do.
Good afternoon. My name is Beatrice Alcocer, and I'm a member of the church. Pastor is out of town. He couldn't make it today.
And can you state your address, please, too?
Sure, my address, my personal address,
Yes, go for it.
is 619 College Street
Okay.
here in South Bend.
Thank you. Now proceed.
And the pastor and his family need a place to live. So they wanted to have the house become residential so we can have utilities and what is needed for the family to live there. That's why we petition that to have residential
Mhm.
address in that house.
Okay. Any questions? This time. Seeing no questions?
Where's the church located? What's the address of the church?
The address is 739 College Street.
Oh,
Just right with where the house is. But the house was, I believe, I'm not pretty sure, but I believe it was altogether, the lot altogether was industrial site.
Yeah, I could point out, it's this industrial lot, right over here, right adjacent to the parcel that's petitioning to be rezoned. So,
oh,
yeah, right next to it, right over here.
okay.
Cool. Right. Any other questions? Seeing that, we'll go to our public hearing. Thank you. You may have a seat. Appreciate you. Public hearing, those who would like to speak in favor. In the audience or online, please feel free to share your thoughts.
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Okay, those who would like to speak in opposition, please do likewise.
I do not see any members of the public online or in person wishing to speak in opposition.
Thank you. We'll now bring that to a close, and we'll bring it back to our committee for your pleasure, recommendation.
Chair,
Yes.
I have a question, and this is internal. This doesn't have to go to the petitioner. My question: the church is asking for a rezoning of a property so that it's adjacent. I mean, so that it's connected to the church. The residential is connected to the church. Is that what's going on? Is that what I'm understanding?
Staff?
Yes, yeah, the lot that's petitioning to be rezoned is a separate parcel. But it is owned by the church, which is on a neighboring parcel, and they're hoping to
Okay.
have, yeah.
So, does their tax status 501c3 goes over to the new property that is being rezoned? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I was confused. I was asking. I'm not being funny. I'm not being arrogant either. I'm asking though.
Yes, I believe it would extend to that because they would remain as the owner of the property.
Okay. Any other questions? Ready? We are ready for a motion or your pleasure, and it has to be done, our votes has to be done online now. Go ahead.
I move that we send Bill 42-25 to the Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation.
All right, do we have a second? Second, will you please take a vote, Clerk Toronto?
Councilmember White,
Aye.
Councilmember Warner,
Aye.
Citizen Member Henry Davis Jr.,
Mr. Davis? You there?
Henry, Citizen Member Stacy Odom,
Aye.
Committee Vice Chair Thomas Morgan, Committee Chair Dr. Davis,
Oh, sorry. Aye.
Citizen Member Henry Davis Jr., can you hear me? I have 5 ayes.
Fine. That bill will go forward tonight with a favorable recommendation. All righty. We now go back to number 1. Are they here?
Is the property owners for 1114 Mayflower online or present in the room?
Hi, this is David Turner. I am the petitioner's representative, and I was there back in June. Yes, I am online. Good evening.
Thank you. Glad to have you. Could you share your name and address again and
Sure,
just share what you would like to do?
sure. So, my name is David Turner. My address is 50771 Hollyhock Road, South Bend, Indiana, 46637. The property at 114 South Mayflower was purchased for the use that it was already, well, prior being used for, which is a home daycare or daycare center, child development center. So it's been in use prior to us purchasing it in 2023. At this time, we have tenants who want to do the same offer the same type of service to the community, which is a daycare learning center, not a school. So the appeal was sought. I appeared in person, I think a month ago, and was not able to appear a few weeks ago. So here I am again, seeking a favorable response in this petition. Again, the property, which is vacant, is now being asked to be used for child development daycare center, which is what it was used for many years up until us purchasing it from the owners in 2023.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yes, good afternoon again, committee members. Mark Billistrito, zoning specialist of offices on the 14th floor. Yeah, obviously the an overview is just provided, but bill number 3025, petition for a school, pre-K, primary, secondary, as defined in section 210601 F11 of the city zoning code in the suburban 1 district. Don't have much new to add besides what the petitioner mentioned. This pre-K program or early childhood program would fit with the surrounding land use and zoning of the surrounding suburban residential neighborhood, and it would also be compatible with recommendation E5.1 from the city's comprehensive plan. And the Board of Zoning Appeals sends this petition to Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
Sir, you mentioned that you have a tenant for the school. You may or may not have this information, but do you have an idea of how many seats the pre-K would have in this facility?
Yes. So initially, when we were pursuing it in 2023, when we took ownership, we started the process, and based on the state's guidelines, it will max out at about 40 children all told. But again, that is based on the combination of ages, right? So we talk about toddlers versus infants needing different amount of square footage. But when you look at the various permutations and combination of ages, it would not go beyond 40.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you very much. We, as a city, are certainly in need of more daycare seats for toddlers and even younger. So appreciate this petition. Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay. Thank you. President Liu?
My question is, you guys are you're being zoned for a school, but it's really a daycare ministry. Is that correct?
Yeah, this would qualify in our category of school pre-K, primary or secondary. So it would fall into kind of the pre-K portion of that definition under the code.
So why would, if it was already zoned for a daycare, or I remember when it was a daycare ministry, why would it need to be rezoned? That's the question.
Sorry, it's for a special exception, and I believe
Special exception, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Because I believe that was granted prior to the new zoning code, so that needing to be renewed with the new code that was passed in 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
I'm not on the committee, Chair.
But I'm a piece. Go ahead, you're councilwoman.
Thank you so much. I did have a question about the pre-K primary secondary use, which seems to have been answered, but this was a daycare prior to that. I live not far from this location, so I don't understand why we need a special exemption. And will this use then be specifically only for pre-K?
So for the answer to the first question, preschool and daycare are treated separately than pre-K, primary, secondary as a use. So the pre-K, primary, secondary requires a special exception. And then if it was just redoing the preschool or the daycare, it would have been fine as a continuousness or as a continuous of the use. But because it is changing that to include that pre-K, it requires a special exception. And then just remind me of the second question that you had.
Well, just being that it was a pre-K so could this be used as other uses then with this special exception other
with
than
the-
pre-K?
With the special exception, it could go to a primary or secondary school, if the property owner deems that necessary, but at this time, it looks like it's just going to be pre-K.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Correct. All right, yes, not intended to do primary, early elementary or anything beyond your 4 or 5-year-old.
So no charter schools or anything like that you're looking to open up, just strictly pre-K?
No, not
Okay.
at all. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
building on just the daycare experience. Can't have the
Okay.
kids just running around. There must be some learning.
Well, thank you so much. It is needed for the area. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's right.
any other questions? If not, what is your pleasure? Oh, we need to go to a public hearing? We need to have public hearing. Okay. We didn't have public hearing on this one? We did already?
We did not.
Okay, cool. All righty, we'd like to go to a public hearing. Open it up for those who would like to speak in favor. Please share your thoughts, whether you're online or in present.
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor of the bill.
Okay, what about, you said online or present?
Yep.
Okay, and those online or present would like to speak in opposition.
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in opposition.
Okay, our public hearing is closed, so we come back to our council committee for a recommendation.
I move that we send Bill 30-25 to the Committee of the Whole with a favorable recommendation.
It's been moved and seconded. Would you please take a roll? Call for vote.
Councilmember White. Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Citizen Member Henry Davis Jr. Citizen Member
Aye.
Stacy Odom.
Aye.
Committee Vice Chair Thomas Morgan.
Aye.
Committee Chair Dr. Davis.
Aye.
6 ayes.
All righty, thank you. And our zoning and annexation committee is over. We're concluded.
Chair,
Thank you. We're
Chair?
Yes,
Chair,
yes.
before you get off, I wanted to point something out to you. When I was asking that question about the rezoning of that property for the church, from my understanding that this council is looking at how it, or this local government is looking at how it can tighten its purse strings because of the idea that the federal government's not going to be kicking in anytime soon, because of the cuts that has been made by the current administration in Washington, D.C. What I'm pointing out to you, and this is just for you guys, if y'all want it, you know, do it. If you don't, you know, still fine. But I'm going to say, hello.
We're here.
Hello?
Hurry up,
sorry.
'cause we,
You may
yeah.
you might want to look at doing a moratorium on nonprofits, or rezoning for nonprofit use, because you don't get any property tax out of those properties. And if property taxes is the way that the local government actually functions,
Mhm.
and you're getting less money from Washington, you're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself.
Okay.
As you did just notice, the last two were non-for-profits. You're not going to get any tax money out of that. Just
Right.
FYI.
Thank you.
I'm done.
And we're done.
Have you formally adjourned?
Did you adjourn?
Yes. Oh, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to introduce a new staff
Oh,
member
yes,
to the
go ahead.
zoning team, to the rest of the council members. This is Brian Killen. He comes to us from FEMA. And this is first day today. So throwing him, well, we didn't make him present anything today, but
Okay.
next time. Yeah, so just wanted to introduce you to a new face that you'll be seeing more of over the next weeks, months, and hopefully years. And just want to wish him well and introduce to everybody here. And yeah, we'll be learning more about each other in the in the near terms. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, it is now 4:51 PM, and I would like to call the Personal and Finance meeting to order. Clerk Toronto, could you take the roll call for the committee, please?
Committee Member Thomas Morgan,
Present.
Committee Member Dr. Davis,
Present.
Committee Vice Chair White. Present. Committee Chair Niskoski,
Present.
4 present.
Thank you so much. We do have a quorum, and we are here today to hear Bill 4325. I see Ms. Jenna Throw is here. The last time this committee met, we actually just had a discussion leading up to the first filing of this bill. So council members had opportunities to ask questions regarding the bill, and now Ms. Throw is here to present. So if you would give your name and address for the record and please present. Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Jenna Throw, city attorney with offices on the 12th floor of this building. And I am presenting on bill number 4325, which proposes updates to section 2-210 of the municipal code. Just a quick overview. We went through these different categories in our informational meeting, but some of the different areas of update were the charges for law enforcement recordings, some other minor updates to the fee schedule, and some clarification of requirements in the ordinance itself consistent with the provisions of state law. Turning to the first topic regarding law enforcement recordings, the overarching goals of these updates are to make sure that requesters have the videos that they actually need and to facilitate efficient review of these requests when they come in. One important thing to keep in mind, and as I go through, I've tried to weave in answers to the questions that I've received from council members over the past 2 weeks into the presentation, but I'm always happy to take any additional questions. But you may see that I've woven in some of the answers to questions that I've received over the past 2 weeks. So the important thing to keep in mind regarding the fee schedule for recordings is that applies when receiving a copy through the APRA process, which means that there's a variety of other opportunities to receive access to video that are either not receiving a copy or not going through the APRA process. The first of these is the provision in state law that allows for the inspection of a recording by what's considered a requester under state law. And we talked a bit about that last time, but requesters are defined in state law in categories like someone who appears on the record, someone who the interior of their home appears on the recording, or a victim of a crime, or someone who has suffered personal injury or property damage in connection with the events shown in the video. People in these categories all qualify as requesters, and they have a process in state law that allows them to inspect a recording that does not go through, they don't receive a copy, so it does not go through the fee schedule. Some other opportunities that also are not charged the law enforcement recording fees because they don't go through the APRA process are attorney subpoenas as part of litigation through CPRB or other entities. You know, one of the questions that came up last time was regarding the application of these rules to CPRB. And we were able to confirm that it would not apply to CPRB because they do not receive recordings through the APRA process. And there's also other entities or organizations that can help facilitate individuals receiving access to video, like the Family Justice Center, IA, and the prosecutor's office. And then also the criminal case discovery process does not use APRA, so it also is not subject to the recording fees. Another topic that I wanted to make sure to discuss is the volume of law enforcement recordings that we do receive. And one thing to keep in mind when I share some of these numbers is that these numbers reflect the individual requests. A particular request may have between 1 and as many as 30 or more videos that are responsive to a given request. And so the numbers that I'll share regarding requests are based on individual requests that we get in and don't necessarily reflect the total number of videos. So the total number of requests since body cameras started in 2018, we've received 611 total requests. That number, the annual number of requests has steadily risen since body cameras were implemented. I ran some averages, and if you take the average per year since 2020, we received on average 103 requests. But and that's the 2020, that's considering the 2025 records to date extrapolated for a full year. If you take that average for 2023, 2024, and 2025, the average jumps up to 151. So we are seeing a steady increase in the amount of requests that we receive each year. And as far as the categories of individuals or other entities that are requesting video, we found that in each year that we reviewed, over 50% of the requests came from business entities, whether that's a media company, a blogging entity, or a law firm, an insurance company, or an investigation firm or other business entity. In each year that I reviewed, over 50% of the requests fall into that category. And I was specifically asked to break down those numbers even further to look at how many requests in a year come from what we would consider victims. And that may be someone who either self-identifies on their form as a victim or may fall in some of those requester categories as being part of a car accident that's subject to a request. And we found that only about 10 to 12 requests in a given year fell into that category, but the vast majority were from business entities. So one of the things that we worked on in anticipation of filing this ordinance was a process to help requesters refine their request. And even if an individual only does want to get a copy of a recording, copies for requesters tend to have fewer redactions under state law and may not take as long. If all you have is a shorter portion where you have to redact confidential information, the total redaction time may not be that much longer than the runtime. One thing to keep in mind with the fee schedule itself is that pursuant to the Indiana statute on fees and public access counselor guidance, we do have to make sure that the fees are uniform among different categories of persons filing requests. And part of where we talk about informed requests here is interacting with individuals or entities when requests are filed to determine what is most responsive to your request to get a start on. Are you looking for something that involves body camera footage or more for something that involves motor vehicle recording footage? Because those types of recordings inherently show different things. And based on the reason for someone's request, they may be more looking for one than the other, and can help get them a start on the recordings that are most responsive to their request. And then with the fee schedule being based on actual time to review, if a video is like a shorter runtime and doesn't take much redactions, a half-hour review time for a video can cost as little as $25. The backdrop for this request was the law passed by the Indiana General Assembly, determining that the recovery of these, what they refer to as direct costs of review, are justified. And since that time, a variety of municipalities throughout the state have adopted similar fee schedules. And I know this came up a bit last time, but we were not able to find a documented incident of a city or county rejecting a fee schedule. But we were able to find a total of 16 cities and 5 counties with fee schedules. And in doing this survey, we started with the largest communities first. And so these are not like the smaller towns in Indiana. We've looked at the largest communities and worked our way down. And so the different approaches, some have flat fees, some, where there's a flat fee, often it's the full $150. Others have just have a not to exceed $150. Others have a prorated fee based on video length, and the route that we're proposing is based on actual cost. And so someone is only actually getting to the $150 if a particular recording takes 3 hours to review. Like I mentioned, if there's a video that only takes a half hour, that could potentially be $25. And one other thing to note is that only the first request for a copy of a particular video is charged, not double charging for the same work if there's different requests for a copy. So there's also been some questions regarding what the redaction process involves. And so the actual process of redaction, typically what happens is we receive the information about the request and enough information from the police department that the legal department is able to go search for the responsive recordings. And that's where we find out how many recordings might there be that are responsive to a particular request. And with the proposed process, that's also where we would engage with the person making the request to see, okay, there's 5 videos responsive to this. Do you want all 5, or do you want just the body worn camera? Do you want just the motor vehicle recording? And once the video, under the current process and the process is proposed, the responsive videos are downloaded and reviewed and redacted for these different redaction topics that are provided by state law. For any type of request, we're always required to do the redactions that are provided as mandatory APRA exceptions, and those are under section 5-14-3-4A. But then there's additional redactions that apply when someone's not a requester, including images of a dead body, minors, serious bodily injury, nudity, personal medical information, and information about victims and witnesses, if necessary for safety. One example of how this plays out is a request that I've personally worked on, where there was many different camera views responsive, and in one of the views, there was a conversation between an officer and an individual, and 2 individuals, where it came up that one of the individuals was a minor. So now I have to make sure to go back and redact the images of that individual through all of the videos. And so it takes very careful review and checking to make sure that all of those areas are captured when we're doing redactions. We've also had some questions regarding the amount of hours that it takes. And currently, the folks in our office who spend a lot of time doing law enforcement recordings estimate that about 18 hours per week between them is dedicated to the review of law enforcement recordings, but that there's enough volume that it could be much more than that. It could be as a full 40 hours per week dedicated to the review of law enforcement recordings. And an experienced reviewer for videos that do require redactions, because to make sure that we capture all of those topics, can take up to 3 times the length of the video to review. But I will note that requesters video, because of some of the rules that apply differently to requesters, don't tend to have as many redactions and may not take as long than requests by third parties. And often those requests, not always, but often they'll know they just need one person's body camera. So they not always, but sometimes they're a little bit more straightforward. As far as where the fees are directed, this is also something that's provided in state law, and that any fees that are recovered through this program are used for supporting the body camera program, either to purchase cameras or other equipment for use in the law enforcement recording program, for training, or to defray the expenses of storing, producing, and copying those recordings. And so that's why in the ordinance, where we mentioned where fees would be allocated, we mentioned that these would go to the law enforcement training fund for these specific purposes. Before I turn to the next topic, do you want me to keep going or take any questions on the law enforcement recording portion?
Just have her keep going. Yeah, just finish the presentation. Yep. Thank you.
So the other topics that the updated ordinance addresses are incorporating the fee schedule as a separate document rather than including each individual fee in the ordinance. We felt that this would help streamline the process of doing future updates. Revisions to the fee schedule always require council's approval, but we felt that incorporating the fee schedule as an exhibit would be a little bit more streamlined than having to come back and always be amending the municipal code. The third topic is a clarification for electronic records, and a lot of records in departments throughout the city where they're just documents being provided are often provided electronically. And so the ordinance provides that requesters are not charged for records provided electronically unless otherwise provided by law. And so that helps clarify that the fees apply to hard copies, or where a file size makes transmission by email not feasible. The next area of the update is just a clarification on where the fees go for record certification. This was not something that was previously addressed in the ordinance, so we added a clarification that the fee for certification is deposited into the same fee as into the same fund as the initial fee. The next topic is related to a provision of state law that allows us to prohibit requests for all records from an electronic data storage system for being used for commercial purposes. And this is like if someone sends us a request for all records from X software, we can prohibit that from being used for commercial purposes. But used for news, nonprofit activities, or academic research is not prohibited. If someone does violate this prohibition and we do see that they're being used for commercial purposes, we can prohibit future data sets from being obtained in this manner. The next topic is some other minor adjustments to the fee schedule, notwithstanding the update to the law enforcement recordings portion. There's a slight decrease in the cost of fingerprinting services, renamed arson reports to fire investigation reports to match the current terminology, and striked some line items for criminal history that are no longer used, some modest increased page counts for documents provided that are not related to APRA, and modification for fees for no trespass signs to reflect that there's only one size of sign being used. You can skip I accidentally clicked past my question slide, but that was
Okay.
the end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation, Jenna. I'm going to come back to our committee members for questions. Councilmember White?
I do have some questions. One, the various updates that you just shared. I know I'm gonna need time to read through all of this and if I had any questions, I'll be able to email those to you. And so I want to just circle back, and you made mention that the fees that would be generated, how many fees from past years have been generated in going through all the videos? And you said that money would go towards the cameras. If you don't have it now, that's fine. You can
So-
accumulate it.
So is your,
Mhm.
this would be the first instance of having the fees in
Okay.
this way for the work that's involved in the footage. Do you mean, fees for just providing the copies?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I may have that. Just one
Well, if you
moment.
don't, you can give it to us later, that's no problem. And I really appreciate when you sent out the responses to the email questions that were addressed. So we look at it, the bulk of the entities that you and the legal and the police department are responding to, they're either corporate, and for profit, or they
Mhm.
are health related. And the
Yes.
percentage for our citizens is very small comparison.
Yes.
So have you thought about maybe looking at a different scale for the citizens? I don't know if that's even legal, but I'm just asking the question.
So thank you
Mhm.
so much for your question.
Mhm.
And I think that's a really important point. And that, there is a provision in the fee section
Mhm.
of, the APRA statute that, requires that fees be applied uniformly.
Mhm.
And in doing the research behind this ordinance, we found that statute as well as an opinion from our prior public access counselor where he specifically talked about that it would not be consistent with that law to charge different APRA rates for different classifications of requesters. But that was something that we wanted to make sure that we had clarity on before presenting this ordinance in its current fashion.
I have others, but I'll ask later.
Okay, I'll go to Rachel Tomas-Morty, our Vice President. Do you have any questions?
I do. I just, I appreciate the numbers that you shared and the breakdown of categories. This isn't necessarily a question, but a statement. I mean, I just, in looking at those numbers, the question that did come to mind was, these are number of requests. Doesn't necessarily capture that they are unique individuals or companies. And so we could be seeing behind these numbers, same entities making requests year in, year out.
That's correct. And there are, as I went through to prepare a response to the question about the different categories, certainly some of our local entities, there would be some of the same ones. But even outside of our local area, there were some repeat requesters. And not requesters in the statutory sense, but repeat individuals or
Unique
entities
individuals.
making requests.
Mhm. Thank you.
Councilman or
Yes,
Dr. Davis?
thank you.
Mhm.
A few questions. First of all, I'll start with the question that you responded to. I sent you a thank you today. When you sent out the whole list of cities, I noticed, because I've been following Fort Wayne a lot because some of their same discussions and their debates were the same ones that I had. And they came up with a $30 fee that was to cover all this because it seemed like it was a balance and they're a much larger city. I know we can go up to 150, but they chose to do $30. And I thought that was rather interesting because of the fact that three things. One, you said that there won't be any double charges. So if Kevin asks for a slide or video and pays 150, then the next week John asks for the same video. John doesn't have to pay because Kevin paid.
That's correct.
So
As
whoever,
long as long as it's a copy. The fees only apply when someone's receiving a copy. And so if Kevin requests, in your hypothetical, if Kevin requests a copy of Officer John Doe's body camera, we do the redactions, Kevin's assessed whatever charges are appropriate. Then I think you said John was the second person. If John requests the same footage from the same call from the same officer, John would not be charged because the work was only charged once. And that was a discussion that we did have with the public access counselor to get his thoughts on that when we were developing this ordinance, and that it was more appropriate to charge the first individual or entity that requests a particular recording, and then subsequent requests for the same footage would not be charged, as long as it was for a copy.
question regarding that goes back to Councilwoman White's question. In a sense, if Kevin and John are looking for the same kind of information, then one's charged up to 150, the other one's charged $0. So in one sense, the statute that you talked about said that everything had to be equal, but when it comes down to these two equal, they are individual citizens, and one is charged one and the other one's not charged. So basically, I should almost wait for the one go forth, they get the fees and I can get them after as anybody else can get them. How would they know? How would you know from that standpoint that somebody's already gone and asked for the same footage?
So that would be something that we would be able to keep track of to make sure, like if there was a request for a particular video that had already been requested.
And would that be deemed fair that they have to pay, but then I don't have to pay kind of thing, or John or versus Kevin? You see how that's not, in some way, I understand what you're saying with that because whoever is already public out there, but at the same way, it kind of defeats the equality of all of that.
So that was the discussion that the questions that we raised with the public access counselor, and the result of those discussions were that the recommendation is to charge the initial requester when the work is done.
Okay. Another question, this was passed by the state legislature back in 2016.
That's correct.
And so we've gone basically 9 years. What, I know you weren't here in 2016, but for 9 years, Lord have mercy. Sorry, that's my, for 9 years, we haven't done anything on that. Is there any reason why?
So this is something that we have been working on for some time. As I mentioned, the volume of recordings has gone up quite a bit in the last few years. I think it was easily below 100 until 2023, I believe. And the total volume of requests has been increasing substantially. And so the need became more apparent to assist in completing requests in a more efficient manner, because ultimately that does go back to the goals that I mentioned at the start of my presentation, is that really the goals with this is to make sure that requesters have what they need and that requests are completed in a timely manner.
Because in 2016, they passed it. Well, our council requested that we wanted to have body cameras in our resolution in December of 2014. That came into the issue of 2016. City of South Bend started body cameras 2018. So others immediately we went literally 7 years, and we have just charged for the disc. And typically, if there are costs that go up, it shocks me that that has not been a budget request to put that in the budget to cover for that, because of the fact that when it came down to the state, and I believe if you can go back to topic 4. You just showed. In terms of the one that go down, yeah, the fees includes okay, those are fees according to need to be certified into the, and it also talks about what the money's going to be, where the money's going to be for those, what the money would be directed to. So if it's going to be directed to, I think that's the only thing. Is there another part of that?
Not for topic 4, but
That was
what
5 then. It was one of
I-
the,
sure.
because it showed where the money was going to be.
Oh, for the law enforcement recordings.
That's correct. For some reason, I put 4. I must
Here
have
you
been 5. Okay. Fees collected for law enforcement may be used for one or more to purchase cameras, for training, and to defray costs. So basically, these fees are going to take care of that, but it's not going to necessarily cover any of the hours that the attorneys are doing to cover the redaction. Is that correct?
That's correct. The money goes to the to support the body camera program, not directly to the legal department.
So if they are, to me, how I've looked at this when you presented it was like, this is, since the volume is going up, their workload is going up. And their workload is going up, but we haven't had a request yet because the legal department hasn't gone up that much in terms of the budget over the years. The police department from 2018, it was looking at it's going up about $27 million. It's almost double, but your department hasn't. And so to me, it would seem more appropriate, again, that this would be covered. Since we're looking at, you talk about a small portion of this. If when you broke that all down, you eliminated the victims, you eliminated, those who are needing for educational purposes and all that. We're looking at, and then what Councilwoman Thomas Morgan brought out a great point. Some of these people are repeaters. So if you go down to this little section of folk here, we're making this change for up to 150 for this little number of people, when the majority of the folk, it's a concerning for that, because it's almost like these repeaters are causing the rest of the citizens to possibly have that.
So with respect to that point of view, one of the things that that we thought of in developing this idea was that to place those like with the business entities or the repeat requesters who don't necessarily have some of the options available to them to view the video, that instead of putting the burden of the small number of requests comparative to the number of people in the city on the entire city, putting the payment for those on the people that are making the requests.
I
Okay,
hear
Dr.
that, but given that rationale, which I can see, give me a few minutes, please. Given that rationale, given it's still, since we're looking at this fairness thing, since you can't split them, like what Councilwoman White was getting at, it still puts the pressure on these repeaters more so than it does anything else. And in that, since we seemingly cannot get around that, that's why I thought what Fort Wayne did, instead of just going up, they put it at a $30 thing, because a lot of those same people are going to repeat even with $30, with $50, with $100, $150, because depending on who they are, they possibly have money to do it. And these people who have shown that they have money to do all this will, in a sense, impact everything else versus those who don't.
And so that I think that's a great point, because part of what we did in evaluating the intake process of requests was to develop processes for the individuals who make requests, who this may be the only time they ever need to request body camera footage from us, to help them figure out what views of the call they most need, or what which officer they need. Is it just one officer, or is it a couple officers? And we can work with you to come up with a time for you to inspect the recordings. And then alternatively, with the business entity requesters who do have the means to pay for as many recordings as they'd like to request, to recover those direct costs then from the entities that have the means to pay for them.
Last question, does this apply to?
Dr. Davis, actually, the committee meetings are allowed 2 questions per committee person. And I still need to get to the public hearing process. Could you save your question for the regular meeting at 7 o'clock, or send her an email of what the other ones, because I still want to see who's online or who may want to ask any questions.
Okay.
Is that would that be too much to ask, or would this
Well-
be your last question? Because,
Well, this would be my last one for right now.
okay, if
And
you
that,
wouldn't mind, please. I've been trying to be very lenient so you could have all your questions
Well, it's
answered.
something that we got to deal with. I
Yeah,
appreciate
oh,
the leniency.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely. Thank you.
in terms of flock safety issues, will this also apply to our flock safety recordings that the city has for those who are requested? Does this same rule apply to the flock safety situation?
So I would have to check the definition of law enforcement recordings, but I also know Kylie Connell in our office, who works with the police department, is online. I'm not sure if those are processed in the same way as body camera and motor vehicle recordings, but they would depend on the definition of law enforcement recordings.
And can you get back to me regarding the flock
Absolutely.
safety? Because this seemed like in that, looking at the flock safety definition that I saw, it seems like once this puts in place, then that ruling will, this ruling would also impact the flock safety issue too, and I'm concerned about that.
Thank you. And the questions that I would like to ask is just 2. So the one question is, I know you said the fees have to be uniform, so we can't have different categories for different people. On the total number of individuals in any year, because you sent us those numbers. So let's say we're looking at, there was 30 individuals that requested video footage. How many of those are requesters? How many of those individuals were like not even from the city of South Bend? So in other words, if it's 30, how many were actually from here? So is that like 5, or is that?
So from year to year, it tended to, out of the total number of individuals, see, I broke that down by individuals and victims. Let me
Yeah, I just
sorry.
think there's a little confusion from
Sure.
people over that number, and I want to make
Absolutely.
sure everybody understands
Absolutely.
how that number is getting derived and who those individuals are that are representative of that number.
So for example, in 2024, the most recent year that we have a full year for, we had 30 requests from people who lived in the city. Out of those, only 12 of them would be considered victims. That we had 31 requests from outside of the city. In 2024, we had 70 requests from law firms, insurance companies, or other types of business requests, which were like investigation companies or other requests that are similar to what we get from law firms or insurance companies, but not easily identifiable as either of those categories. And we had 21 requests from news, media, bloggers in that category. So using 2024 as an example, since that was the most recent full year, out of, I believe, 152 requests, only 12 of them were requests from people who lived in the city that would be considered victims.
And then the other balance would just be regular people that requested for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And so if they were to come in to inspect the video, or I guess to inspect is only for a requester.
Correct.
But if they wanted the video or a copy of it, or even to look at it, there would be a charge for the redaction fees,
That's correct.
unless you meant the state definition of a requester.
Right. And we're looking to be more clear once we get an intake of a request to see whether or not they're a requester and to know whether or not that inspection process is available potentially. And as I mentioned, there's also a variety of other circumstances where people can get access to even a copy of a video without going through the recording fee schedule, such as an attorney subpoena, the criminal court discovery process, or through the CPRB or other similar entity.
Okay. And the other one, when you talked about the fee schedule and the reason why this is being included, the only way that would be able to be changed is by the council.
That's correct.
So that would be included in that. And that would also be public record, be on the website, so everybody knows in transparency, this is what the cost would be if you request this.
Yep.
Okay. And if I think of another question, I'll email it to you, but I want to thank you. You've been very, I think you've requested, everything that's been requested, I believe, has been answered by council members. Is that correct?
As far as I know from the meeting this evening, I will follow up with Councilwoman White on the amount of money that we've received from requests, and with Councilman Dr. Davis on the application to the flock cameras. But
Okay.
other than that, I believe everything is that I've received.
Has everything been your questions that you requested via email to?
The ones from that, others have come up from this presentation that she shared
Right.
today.
Well, besides these, I mean, all the ones prior.
Oh, I'm a piece from the other one prior. I
Okay.
sent her a thank you already.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm just answering everything to cover all the questions. Okay, so at this point then, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Thank you so much, Jenna, for taking the questions and presenting again for us. So is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor of Bill 4325?
If you are a citizen member online, can you please state in the chat if you are wishing to speak in favor or in opposition of the bill?
Yeah, I do see one raised hand. Ms. Kylie?
I have Miss Kylie online. Please unmute yourself and state your name and address.
Hi, this is Kylie Connell, Assistant City Attorney with offices at 701 West Sample. I work with the police department, and I was just hoping to answer some questions that I heard that came up for flock safety. I cannot think of any flock safety requests that we've ever received for APRA-related matters. Whether or not what's produced from flock would be a public record would be the same process as for body cam. So we would look at what it's being used for and if it's a part of an open investigation. So this would not impede any photos or video that would come from any of the flock units. But again, to date, I'm not aware of anything through APRA requests that have been requested from flock.
But that's not my question. That wasn't
Sure.
my question.
Okay.
My question is when it comes with flock issues, will this issue, because I didn't, in terms of, a lot of people are not aware of the flock issue comments and how they are all over. But as that grows in our community, will us setting a fee, because right now, when you look at the flock safety issue, there is not a fee for that. If you ask for the for the footage, will us setting this fee automatically put to record, since it's now established state statute or city statute, will that then put this ruling make the flock safety rule a rule? Because it seemed to me when I looked at it, it looked like that way. So if you could take a look at that and bring that to us later, because I'm out of time. And this is a public hearing.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you, Kylie. If do you understand the question that he's asking, if you could bring it?
Yeah, I'm still not sure that I fully understand it, but I
Well,
can
let's talk
further go
afterwards
with
because
the
this is public
police
hearing.
department.
I'll talk to her and try to explain it, but this is public hearing, so they don't want me to have any more time, which makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if I may have the final time that I'm allowed to.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. One other thing that I just wanted to point out again is that it's not a discrepancy in one person being charged and another person not being charged, because it's not about who's requesting it. It's about the work that's being done. We're allowed to bill for the work that's actually being done. If the work has already been done, then we can't double bill for that. That would not be allowed. We've already done the work. We can produce it. All we have to do is put it on a disk. It's already on our system. We save what we've already done previously. So we have it. We have a copy of it. We're not redoing the work, so we can't charge for it. So again, it's not a matter of who's requesting it. It's a matter of what's being requested. Has it already been redacted? And if it has, then we're not going to charge them for it. And that's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else wishing that would like to speak in favor? This is the public hearing process. I realize we're a little bit out of order here, but
I do not see any members of the public in person or online wishing to speak in favor at this moment.
okay, is there anyone here wishing to speak against? I see one person. You want to come on up? Just state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Richard Herbst, and I live at 702 Philippa Street, South Bend, Indiana, 46619. I echo Dr. Davis's concerns regarding the cost that is being set, the price point here. And I do think if we look at this as either a deterrent to use or a way to kind of have a green economy for administrative costs, this appears to be accomplishing neither of those. So I hope you might take a second look at if you are thinking about this as a matter of paying for itself or putting the money back into the coffers, to put the money where it came from and not to those secondary sources. Beyond that, I think this could be easily built into an administrative budget, given that the requests aren't that high. Now, I'm going to add this. This is a bill that's being written for like 2022. This is also going to change a lot in the next years. So regardless of how this shakes out, I hope this is something that you look at literally annually when looking at the code, because the shape of this, what we consider commercial speech coming out of these files, there's going to be a lot of action in the courts, and there's going to be a lot of action in the media landscape in the criminal justice world, where you just need to keep your antenna up and understand that this isn't going to be something that is set in and forget it, but something that really needs to be revisited and stood on top of, so that we know people who need access to these do still have the access. And like you said, the repeat customers, the repeat flyers, are also paying the brunt of what they need to do in order to hit the government up for something. But as it stands, I do hope this number of 150 decreases, and you should keep your eyes on this through the years. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against?
Mr. Geiger, please unmute yourself and state your name and address.
Thank you, Jordan Geiger, 302 South Falcon Street. Yeah, I'm just gonna echo what Oliver and Ricky have already said. I don't really see how this accomplishes the goal that it's intended to. Based on what I've heard from presented by the attorney, if the issue is the time that it takes to produce or redact and produce these copies, I just don't see how charging a fee that doesn't even go to the legal department, like how that helps. And ultimately, it disproportionately impacts or burdens the citizen who doesn't have as deep of pockets or as deep of pockets as a business. So it just makes sense. And I think this has come out, public statements from the Tribune and online. It just makes sense that the city would just add in an additional line item to cover the costs of these, the cost to produce these copies.
Okay, thank you so much for your comments. I appreciate that. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against?
I do not see anyone in person or online wishing to speak at this time.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to bring it back to the committee members. And I'd like to thank everybody for their comments so far. And the one thing I did hear, and I'm hoping Jenna will be able to clarify a little bit more, is the way that the monies, I believe that was all indicated by state law on where the fees for this can go. That was determined by the State House, and I believe that was a unanimous vote in both chambers where it got it to that, as well as how it was structured and the language contained therein. So everything you're doing is what this guidance of the state law is. And I believe our body cameras, they weren't installed, was it 2023 when we started using body cameras?
No, 2018, we started using body cameras.
2018? Okay, thank you, Jenna. Thank you. Okay, so I just wanted to clear that up, and hopefully this does get out of committee so we can have a further discussion with this at the 7 o'clock. So with that being said, I know there needs to be input. I believe there's more people that probably will come to the 7 o'clock meeting that would like to have further input, as well as council members. So I will entertain a motion to send this to the committee of the whole with no recommendation.
So move.
Do I have a second? Okay, thank you.
I think there's a need for further information, and even what was shared today, I need to take that home and digest it. I have some more questions as well.
Well, this would still come to the 7 o'clock
I
meeting
think
for
other
further
council members
discussion.
need-
Yes, I do too. Absolutely. Okay, so we do have a motion and it was duly seconded. Clerk Toronto, could you call the roll, please?
Committee Member Thomas Morgan,
Aye.
Committee Member Dr. Davis.
Aye.
Committee Vice Chair White,
Aye.
Committee Chair Niskoski.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Thank you so much. Bill number 4325 will be sent to the committee of the whole with no recommendation. At this time, I would like to conclude the meeting for Personnel and Finance. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I appreciate your time.
You. I'm trying to find our agenda for tonight. This is the informal. We will have invocation by Joel Moody, pledge, roll call, reports from the committee on minutes, July 14th, 2025. Special business, there's none. Reports from city offices, there's none. We'll go to the committee of the whole. 3925 and 4025 have been tabled till August the 25th. We'll do bills on third reading. We have 2. And then we'll do the, we have no resolutions.
Did you
We
say
have
39, point of question? I could.
3925 and 4025 have been tabled till August 25th.
Thank you.
Then we'll do bills on first reading. We have 4 unfinished business, new business, privilege of the floor, and adjournment. See you all at 7 o'clock.